Hi, welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim.
And we're so glad that you're here. You know, watching podcasts is really one of my most favorite things to do while I knit. So I'm really grateful to all the YouTubers out there and the podcasters who, you know, make our life better. So on that note, I just want to say that this is harder than it looks.
So much harder.
So much harder. And we're so glad that if you're tuning in for the second time that you're here again, because we know that there was, you know, there were footsteps and boots clomping and dogs and lots of distractions. So we're really grateful that you're here. And, you know, this is a work in progress and we're learning. And so,
And we have, as Jonna said in our last episode, or not episode, but when I did my Orkney video, I'm a planner. I plan everything, and I have all these, like I said, all these cheat sheets. Even with that, I still forget so many things. For instance, in episode 1, I talked about my crochet blanket, and I shared about this book, but I didn't say the title of the book.
Well, that's okay, because I thought Vogue Knitting Live was in 2020. No, I thought it was in 2019, because everything pre-COVID to me is 2019,
right.
But it was actually in January of
2020 that you met Andrea and Andrew. Yes, at Vogue Knitting Live in New York City.
So I misspoke last time.
No big deal. And I forgot to say, this is Arne and Carlos's Knit and Crochet Garden, and that's where I got this pattern from. I mean, there were so many things that I thought, oh, if I could do that differently, I would do this or I would do that. I completely forgot to say the colors of my grandchildren's sweaters. You can see the picture back there. But you can message me and I'll tell you if you want to know. Also, we did our Fibre Festival video recently. And I shared about La Bien-Amie's, that book she's coming out with, Worsted, a collection of knitwear. And I completely forgot to say the name of the designer of the Amina sweater that I want to knit. And the name of that designer is Sylvia Watts Cherry. So I'm sorry, Sylvia, but thank you so much for your patience with us. Again, we're just figuring this out. I hate how much I look at my notes, but I really don't want to forget things, so that's that.
And I know I'm going to forget things, so.
So this is now December.
It is.
By the time this airs.
Yes.
It will be December.
And we will have had Thanksgiving here in the United States. So, yeah.
How many people will you have had for Thanksgiving at your house?
Just our family unit who live in our house.
Okay.
So, yeah, just the 7 of us.
Yeah.
Another small Thanksgiving.
And I think we're going to have 8 adults and 5 grandchildren. And a couple of them are really picky, so they'll probably just have mac and cheese. No turkey, no mashed potatoes, none of the yummy stuff.
It'll be Max's first turkey, so we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Max is my 1-year-old grandson, so yeah.
So a little bit later we're going to talk about Christmas projects. We're not going to talk about that right now because it is December, so people are Christmas knitting, right?
That's right.
But we did get our Starbucks Christmas cups. I'm drinking coffee today. What are you drinking?
Tea.
Peppermint tea. Yay.
She's fully caffeinated. I'm never caffeinated.
Exactly.
So let me tell you about what I'm wearing. I haven't worn this in a while, actually. So this was my Rhinebeck 2019 sweater that I finished on the morning of Rhinebeck at about 9:30 in the morning. In fact, some of the ends are still not woven in. I will not show you. Just trust me. There are some strings hanging on the inside.
I can weave them in for you.
Yeah, I know.
Them in.
Yeah, I'll tell another story about how Kim saved me this week with a mundane task that I didn't want to do. So yeah, I steam pressed this. It's the Koivua by Caitlin Hunter, also known as Boyland Knitworks. And I love her patterns. I've made the Soldatna, this, I made a couple Soldatnas actually, and I have a lot of her patterns. I love her aesthetic. So this was actually a shop sample here at Pick Up Every Stitch, and it was knit in Mayak medium. It was in a gorgeous tobacco color with black color work, and it was gorgeous. So I thought, I definitely want to make that. And this came off my needle super fast. I know it looks complicated, but it was so potato chippy. You know, the color work, I just wanted to see how that was going to evolve. And there's texture in the sleeves and in the body. And
oh yeah, there's pearls. I never noticed that before.
Yeah, knits and pearls.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And I started it on a walk in Rockefeller State Park.
Walking
and knitting. I knit this
so cool.
mock turtleneck, which I really like because I have sort of a long neck, so it sort of covers a little bit of that. And yeah, it fits perfectly.
What yarn did you knit it in? Did you say
it's
that already?
made out of Cumbria, which is from the Fibre Co. And Feederbrook Farm Entropy DK is the I don't know, the color changing yarn. So this was a couple skeins, maybe 2 skeins of the color changing yarn.
So the yarn itself has color change in it. You didn't have to use a bunch of different colors.
Right, exactly. So the yarn is just changes colors as you knit with it. That is not to say that it is a color changing yarn. Like the color changing yarn when you bring it out into the sun, it's a different color.
Right.
That's not what I mean. But the yarn management was interesting because when I put the sleeves on hold, I wanted the sleeves they didn't have to match perfectly, but I did want them to look like it was planned. So I did have to do a little bit of yarn management, and you can tell the green isn't exactly the same on the ends of the sleeves, but I did a pretty good job of making it look like it was intentional. So I did cut out some of the brown I didn't like as much, so I did cut out some pieces of yarn and start again with the green, which was the green I really liked. So so I have had some pilling with this yarn, and I emailed Daphne at the Fibre Co. and she assured me that after a few gleanings, which I've always been afraid of our gleaner, so we bought a gleaner together and I've never used it because I'm afraid to. Because brushing your sweater, this precious thing that you've spent all this time and money on, just seems kind of counterintuitive, but it actually works wonders.
It does.
And I've done it a few times. And like I said, I finished this on the morning of Rhinebeck, and I steam blocked it because I just obviously didn't have time to wet block it, which reminded me that maybe I've never wet blocked it.
Maybe.
And so that will help fill out. This yarn has a little bit of mohair in it, so that'll help kind of adjust the fibers and maybe wiggle them into place so there's a little bit less pilling.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
It's
I love
so
it.
beautiful. I love it. Every time you wear it,
Thank you.
It's just really gorgeous.
I love the fit. It's boxy. It's a little bit cropped.
Yeah.
And yeah, I must have somehow picked the perfect size because we all know I don't swatch. And yeah.
We don't know that.
I know.
Have you said that before?
I did, I think.
Oh, did you? I don't remember. You've told me. But
So what are you wearing?
I am wearing my most recent finished object, actually. So this is I have to look at my notes. See? The project knitter, not the process knitter. This is a Petiteknit Novice Cardigan-Chunky edition. And it knitted up super, super fast. I'm saying super again. I'm not going to count them this time. And I knitted this with vacation yarn. By the way, I wanted to mention what I mean by vacation yarn. I don't mean that when I'm going to go on vacation, I go buy a bunch of yarn at my local yarn shop and then I take it with me on vacation. What I mean is, on vacation, I like to go to a local yarn shop near where I'm on vacation and buy yarn there. So the story of this is, my husband and I were in the Adirondacks in May, and there is no yarn shop, especially with COVID. I think there used to be a few, but they've now just gone strictly to online. And the nearest yarn shop, we were in the Adirondacks in upstate New York. The nearest yarn shop was 2 hours away in, what was the name of the place? Shelburne, Vermont.
I remember you texting me and saying, we're going.
Yeah.
It's only 2 hours.
It's only 2 hours away.
I was like, would my husband take me 2 hours out of his way?
Yeah, my
to go to
hubby
a
went
yarn
with
shop?
me. It was so fun. So I went to Must Love Yarn in Shelburne, Vermont, and browsed around a little bit. The woman there, I don't remember her name. Again, I don't remember names. Helped me. I saw this yarn, actually. I kind of just look around, because I also said I usually pick out a pattern and yarn together. And for vacation yarn, souvenir yarn, I actually I wander around, I look for yarn that I love, and then I find a pattern to match it, which I did.
Can I pet you?
Yes, pet me. It's so soft and beautiful. Yes. This is Plymouth yarn, Aireado. I think that's how you say it. Mm-hmm. It's a bulky weight, 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino wool, and 23% nylon. And it's just this gray color. And one thing I've learned, I actually just started swatching in 2021. I'm calling it the year of the swatch for me. And again, we will do a little short video about swatching at some point. But I had 2 swatches here. Where did I put them? Oh well.
Your gray ones?
Yeah, I don't know where I put them. Anyway, no big deal. But I realized from swatching that I'm a really tight knitter. So
I already knew that.
it was suggested, this one actually I didn't have to go up too much. It was suggested US 10 and I just went up to a US 10.5. And I added, I mean, it was super easy, knitted from the top down. I loved that the bottom ribbing, I'm going to insert pictures, but the bottom ribbing is 10 centimeters. Just so you know, when I knit from a pattern, I just started doing this. When I knit from a pattern that's written in metric and the English measurements are like the second measurements, I measure everything in metric. Because I feel like that's more precise. 10 centimeters is different than 4 inches. It just is.
It's a smaller increment of measurement.
It is, and it's just a little more precise. So this is a 10 centimeter rib at the bottom. So I did make this 10 centimeters. It was only supposed to be 8, I think, and I just...
You went rogue. You went off pattern.
Oh my
so
goodness.
Unlike her.
So unlike me, I know. I also added more buttons, which I'm kind of regretting now, because after I did the whole thing, we knitted up really fast. After I did the whole thing, I actually bought buttons here, the same brand as my Orkney, the metal buttons. And I put them all on. I loved it, but they were so heavy that this side of the sweater was getting longer and longer. So this week, was it this week or last week?
Last week.
Jonna went to New York City to get buttons for one of her sweaters, and she got me these gorgeous clear plastic buttons, and I think they're light, but because I put so many on, more buttonholes and more buttons.
Are there 10?
There's 9 actually.
9, okay.
But I don't like big gaps between my buttons. I don't know, it's just me. But yeah, so other than that, that's really the only thing that I did. What's the name of the store you went to get the buttons?
MJ Trimmings.
M&J Trimmings, yeah. She sent me a video. I don't know if the video is good enough to insert here, but it's just a wall of buttons.
Floor to ceiling.
I mean...
If they don't have it, maybe it doesn't exist.
Yeah, if you're in New York City, go to M&J. Was it M&J Trimmings in New York City? Yeah.
And they have ribbons and lace and all kinds of notions.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Good.
It's the first time I'm wearing it, actually.
It's like my pink one, my cardigan.
Yes, it reminds
7.
me of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Well, speaking of cardigan number 7, I've made my second one, which is actually a Christmas gift for my daughter Emily. But by the time the video comes out, it will have already been gifted, so we're good. Yeah, and it took me 12 days, and I really like it. I have made this before in some Isaiah bulky yarn and a string of mohair, helped double. But this one is made out of CaMaRose, and I had to call somebody and ask how to say that. So evidently CaMaRose, CaMaRose, is a conglomerate of the owner's 3 children's names.
Oh, sweet.
So I think one is Camille, and so that's where the CA is not CaMaRose, it's CaMaRose. Anyway, I loved the yarn. Even though it's fuzzy, I didn't have trouble with splitting or, catching little bits of fuzz in my needles. So it actually knitted up really easily, really smoothly.
How long did it take you to knit the whole thing?
12 days. But I was in a bit of a hurry. I needed to finish it. So, I was highly motivated, shall we say.
Speaking of that, I know I'm interrupting a little bit, but one reason we wanted to do this YouTube channel was because it would motivate us to finish projects.
Definitely.
Right?
Give us little hidden deadlines. That's right. So these sweaters are actually really similar, except for this one's a raglan construction. So you can see it has raglan increases right here. But you construct the whole sweater from the top down, and then when you're done with the sleeves, you pick up and knit the button band. So that's what I did. I think it was yesterday. I picked up and knit each button band and then around the neck, and that was a lot of stitches. It took me almost a whole day just to do the button bands. And I got these beautiful buttons.
And the bind off takes a long time too, you said, right?
Oh, I did the tubular bind off because it was suggested. It wasn't, mandatory, but I do like how stretchy it is. So, and that's been kind of one of my things as a new knitter, is a tight bind off, and then having to pick out the bind off. Oh, which leads me to when Kim rescued me. I actually, and I was so proud of myself because I really did do tally marks, but I managed to make one of the ribbing on the cuff longer than the other. So I actually went to the dentist. I don't know which was worse, me going to the dentist or you having to unpick my tubular bind off.
No, it wasn't that bad. Okay. I was at Jonna's house and we were filming another video and she had to leave for a little bit to go to the dentist, and I said, I can just stay here because we were going to try to film another one, which didn't happen because it was kind of a disaster. But when she left, I said, I can pick out that cuff for you if you want.
And she totally did, and I came home and it was all ready for me on needles, and all I did was another tubular bind off, and now they match, so I'm very happy with that. Oh, speaking of mistakes, I mean, you know, I thought about just leaving it. I did, that crossed my mind, but there's actually some color work mistakes in the yoke of this sweater that I've never fixed. So, you know, there you go.
But nobody ever notices.
My friend Katie noticed.
Here, we'll ask our viewers. Just take a little peek right now.
She did pick it out.
If you're watching this video and you can zoom in, put in the comments if you can find the mistake. It's a color work mistake. We'll tell you that. It's not a pearl.
It is, and it's in the yoke.
So,
it's in the yoke.
There you go.
But my friend Katie, and I just want to show this really quickly, because I bought this cute little bag from her. She is Katie Did Bags on Etsy, and it's my sock knitting bag, and it's so small I can just fit it into my handbag. It has a little handle, a zipper to keep,
you take that everywhere with you. I always see it. Yeah.
And I wanted to support her. She had a trunk show here at Pick Up Every Stitch, and I just thought, oh well, I'll just buy something little, and it's turned out to be one of my favorite knitting possessions. I do not have a lot of any fancy knitting bags, so yeah, Katie Did Bags on Etsy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use this all the time.
So sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So
should I share about my next little thing?
Yeah.
By the way, when we turned the camera off, I found my swatches. I had put my project on top of them. So yeah, this is my year of the swatch. I think this huge swatch was my first swatch with a suggested, no, I can't remember. Maybe this was my first one, and then I don't remember. Anyway, I did swatch. And then, so my next little project is a teeny tiny project. I had yarn left over, so I quickly, in like one day, made my husband a hat. And he wears it every day. I literally had to pull it off his head to bring it here.
So soft.
Yeah, and I decided to, he's bald, I mentioned that before. This is the simple hat, and it's by Stuart Moulder. He actually calls it the world's simplest hat. And I just knitted it out of the same yarn as my sweater. So it's a super, you know what I did though to make it match even more? It's supposed to have...
Does it have 10 centimeters of ribbing?
10 centimeters of rib. I love it.
If you were a hat person, you could wear it, but she's not a hat person.
Do you think if my husband and I are out, a knitter will see us and they'll notice, like...
It's possible.
The yarns match and the ribbing matches.
So I was at Costco in Brookfield, Connecticut, in the parking lot, putting my groceries in the trunk of my car, and I hear from afar, "I love your soldotna." And I was like, what?
That's so cool.
Knitters are out there. Mm-hmm. I know. It was pretty funny.
Nobody's ever done that to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about this before we stop the camera in between. We always stop the camera in between projects because things fall on the ground and whatever.
And camera battery.
I was wondering, and this was something I shared last episode, and I haven't done any work on it, just so you know. But I was wondering if anybody noticed that there's no ends to weave in. Did anybody notice that? Basically, as I work on a project, I weave the ends in immediately. So I make one flower, and I attach it, and I weave all the ends in. I even weave the end in when I finish the first 2 rounds. I weave the ends in.
And guess what I would do?
Wait till the end and you're still wearing it with ends.
Yep.
But yeah, that's why when I finish this, there will literally be no ends to weave in, and that makes me so happy.
Right. That would be an enormous task.
Yeah.
Weave in all those ends. So.
But that's pretty normal. That's what you normally do. If you're knitting a granny square or crocheting a granny square Afghan or anything, you would
any
normally...
kind of scrappy blanket.
Yeah, they usually tell you at the very end, weave in the ends. Not me. I want to finish it. So, like when I knitted this, I did the body first, right? And any ends I could weave in, the ones near a seam I leave because you can weave them in the seam. But anything that isn't near a seam, these little ones on the edges, anything, I weave them in immediately. So when I'm done with the sweater, I have like 3 ends to weave in. Yeah, that's what I do. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next project.
So, speaking of not weaving in ends, yet no ends have been woven in.
If I was, this would all be woven in already if I did it.
In my shawlography. This is the current state of my shawlography. It has not grown much since last time because it's on timeout underneath my bed in a bag. It's just sitting there. So I came close to frogging it though.
Literally right after we filmed the first episode, that night or the next day, she said, I thought she already frogged it. Frogging, by the way. Okay, I'll put it in below a caption what frogging is. If you know what frogging is, you can put it in the comments.
So when I was here last, I was working on the stripe section, slip stitch section, and these welts were really fun. I really liked doing them. I liked the way it was written in the pattern. It was really easy. I didn't have to guess which stitches, 10 rows below I needed to pick up because the colors changed. So it made it really easy, and I actually really love it. And I'm onto the triangle section. If you're knitting this, it's still clue 2.
If you really don't want to do this, I will finish it. In a different gauge, a completely different gauge.
So here's the deal. On Instagram, I shut off I unfollowed the hashtag Shawlography 2021 MCAL because I didn't want to see clues 3 and 4.
Oh, I see.
But the algorithm for Instagram is if you've seen the little the first slide, the placeholder that warns you about the spoiler,
right?
Then the next time you scroll through, you see slide number 2.
Yes.
So invariably, because I was looking at other things on Instagram, I saw bits and pieces of clues 3 and 4. Now, clue 3 has brioche, which I'm totally cool with, and I think it's going to be really nice. But clue 4 was this striped border, a wide striped garter border, and I just thought, that is not sitting well with me. I don't like that.
But I think I've seen it without the stripes. People have done it without the stripes.
So it's been a big topic of discussion among people who are knitting the shawls. Like, do you like the stripes? Do you not like the stripes? And I honestly think it has to do with the colors that you choose, because I've actually seen some of them look nice, and I like it. But I think because of the colors I chose, I think it would look just too barber pole, just too stripy for me. So
you're still undecided.
While it was on timeout, I decided I'm not going to frog it. I do want to see how the Holst Super Soft washes up. Like I said, I like the colors I chose, so I'm going to do the brioche in clue number 3.
You love brioche.
I do.
You've done I've never done brioche, but you love it the times you've done it.
Yeah. And so I am not going to frog it. I am going to do clue number 3.
Oh, good.
And then I'm thinking about putting just a knitted ruffle as the border. So that's my plan.
Okay.
But it was on timeout while I made my daughter's sweater.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you decided not to rip it out. I'm just going to finish this row and say something else. By the way, if you hear, again, we're in a yarn shop. And so if you hear ding-dongs, that's because people are coming in and out the door. And my daughter actually comes and helps us film. And this morning, she was with her 2 little kids, 4 and 2-year-olds, my grandchildren. And they were in New York City for a modeling gig. Someone found them on Instagram. So they did this modeling gig. So she has the kids here with her. So my granddaughter just said, hi, or was it my grandson said, Grandma? So if you hear that, that's them.
And they are unbelievably adorable.
Oh my goodness. Looks like she's going to sneak into the camera. All right, come on in and give me a hug. This is Harper.
A photo bomb.
A photo bomb. Her brother's in the bathroom. But this is Harper, and she just did her first, well, it's actually her second modeling gig for
at the ripe old age of 4.
What's the company name?
Primary Dot?
No, that was Primary Dot was the first one. What's this one? Lingua Franca? Franca Lingua?
Oh, okay.
How do you say it?
Lingua Franca?
Yeah, so she's wearing her free clothes she got. Lingua Franca, yeah. So say hi. Okay, time to go. Thank you.
Now the sweater makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
So, anyway.
What are you making?
I am still working on my C2 sweater.
It has grown a lot.
And let me just say this. It's designed by Helga. Oh my goodness, I do this all the time. Helga Isayer. And I'm knitting it in Julie Asteline, Tolia and I can't remember right now. But anyway, I'll say it in a minute. But I absolutely love, I've obviously finished the body. I love this. Fits perfectly. I've been able to try it on now.
It's really soft.
Yeah, I did swatch it. I mentioned in my Orkney video that I like to swatch techniques and skills along with the gauge swatch. So I did swatch the cable so I would know how to do it. I remember though when I was trying to figure it out, we were like on a little mini vacation and I kept asking her to read it. What does this mean? What does this mean? But we finally figured it out. So I love it. It actually fits my body perfectly. I had mentioned in episode 1 that I thought it was like a boyfriend fit, and in mine, it's not. I did swatch, I could not get gauge. I did 3 swatches, and I finally talked to Felicia and Karen, and they're like, here at the shop, and they're like, just start knitting, because yeah, I was close enough, right? But I could not get gauge. So I don't even know if I had seen the sweater on a model. On the hanger, it looked like a boyfriend fit, but it's not. It's more fit to my. It's not tight at all, but it's like a sheath, kind of like a sheath. Yeah, it fits my body, which I don't know if I like that. Also, I made it exactly as they said, and again, this is now my 8th garment for myself, so I don't really know yet how long I like my garments. I haven't figured that out. I don't want cropped. I don't want really long, like around the widest part of my hips. I feel like this is a little too long. So this is one end I did not weave in because I might take it out and make it shorter. But it has this beautiful cable ribbing, which I absolutely love.
Now, did you use a cable needle?
No.
Are these real cables or
no?
faux
They're real. I don't know. You don't need to use a cable needle. Basically, the 2 stitches, first you knit them together, but you take the needle back out, but you don't slide them off, and then you knit into the first stitch of the 2, and that makes it twist.
Okay.
Yeah. But I absolutely love it. So I just started a sleeve. One thing that was really weird, and I don't know, I'm assuming the pattern's correct, but there's along the side seam is the same cable, right? So when you get down here, the cable is where it is. You can't move it. And then it says to do the same. So I had at the edge of this faux seam, the 2 pearls. I started with 2 knits. That's what you would do, right? All the way around, and I get to the end, and it doesn't match. It would be 4 pearls in a row. So I was like, that's so weird. I read the pattern a million times. I had the right amount of stitches, I think. So what I ended up doing was I unknit that part. In the first 2 knits, I just knit one and made one, another knit, and then I went across and I did that on the other side too, and then the same thing on the back.
And this is not a pattern on Ravelry.
No, this is an Issei or yarn pattern. You can't get it on Ravelry. You have to contact the company, and I think you get it when you buy their yarn, the pattern, but Felicia got it for me.
So that's one of the things I like about Ravelry is that if I have a question, I will go to the project page and I'll type in, like today I did it. I want to know short rows. Oh, which reminds me, I did make one change to this pattern because I've made it before, and I feel like the back of mine is a little short. So I knit to where I was going to start the rib, and then I put in 6 short rows.
Oh,
and
wow.
It fits fantastic.
Perfect.
So, if I have a question about, something like that, I would go to the project page normally and type in the search bar, hem ribbing or something like that, and see what other people have said.
It's a newly published pattern, so there's there's really not that much information out about it. So I figured it out, and I might make it shorter. You'll see as we go along. I'll do the sleeves first, and then I'll decide. But it's so soft and so beautiful and gorgeous.
It's going to be really warm too.
Yeah, I lost my page where I say what it is, but I'll put it in the show notes. I said it in the last episode. It's the Julie Aceline, and it's I remember the color is joyful. I love that, and it really makes me joyful to knit it. So that's that.
Beautiful.
So Jonna, what are you going to share? Where's Jonna? Did you kick her out? Okay.
Are you ready for some sock talk?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to have sock talk every episode, I'm sure.
I finished the lavender sock, and this is the Regia Merino Yak.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's so
and
beautiful.
I really love it. So
It's really gorgeous.
And I have a cure for second sock syndrome, which many people have, which is as soon as I finish this, I put it on my foot and stared at it while I cast on the second one.
So are you finished with the second
petted
one
it, and no, I'm not. But these are Christmas gifts, so I do have a little bit of time. So,
who are they for?
Yep. Sorry.
Never mind.
All will be revealed.
Okay.
Okay. So I did a heel flap and gusset, which is my favorite type of heel, and I'll talk about that in my next sock. And just 15 rows of 1x1 rib. Plain vanilla sock.
It was so cute. I took a picture of it right after she had turned the heel, and the needles were in it, so I couldn't. I got the best picture I could, and she saw the picture. She's like, "You can't see the gusset. It's so gorgeous. You can't see it." I said, "Jonna, it's as good as I can do without taking the needles out."
It's still a bit of a mystery to me, and I think that's why I was so enamored by socks. It's such a interesting feat of construction that your knitting turns, and then stitches come out, horizontal stitches come out of vertical stitches, and then there's a short row part, and then there's the gusset.
It really is beautiful. It's amazing.
It is. It's beautiful. So which leads me to my next sock that I've cast this sock off twice because I needed to add a little bit of length to it because the person I'm knitting them for is growing like a weed. So I had to add a little bit of length. And I did a fish lips kiss heel in this, and I definitely went through a fish lips kiss heel phase because I thought the heel flap and gusset was too much work. But
I'm going to pretend like I know what a fish lips kiss heel is because I really don't.
So when you knit a fish lips kiss heel, you don't have to knit the gusset. And the gusset decreases take a while. And you have to knit a heel flap, and I do have to refer to a pattern. I had to refer to a pattern for the fish lips kiss heel too. It's a short row heel. It's a type of short row heel. It's great though if you don't want to disrupt the stripe pattern in your self-striping yarn. It looks a lot like an afterthought heel, which I have tried unsuccessfully. I will try again, but I've decided that for two reasons. Aesthetically, I don't think they're as beautiful as a heel flap and gusset. Also, I do find that it's a little bit tighter on the instep when I do a fish lips kiss heel, which for the sock, it's fine. But
there was something about this that you didn't like too.
Oh, right. So this is the first time I've ever done a tabbed cuff. This pattern, by the way, is the Totally Rad Socks by Summerly Designs. And I just thought, these are in my grandson's school colors. And I thought it was cool, and it looked kind of like a crew sock, an athletic sock that he might wear. I am going to press this down, I think, with a steam iron and make it a little bit flatter. I think that might take away some of the bulkiness. It's fine. It's fine. In hindsight, I wish I had done ribbing, and I wish I had done the heel flap and gusset. But yeah, so I have to make the second one to match, so yeah.
You didn't put that on, and then it inspired you? Put it on your foot to inspire you to knit the second sock?
No, the second one has been a bit of a slog, to be honest, but I did just finish the fish lips kiss heel today. So now I'm on the foot and easy sailing. My daughter didn't know the word slog. Did I make that up?
No, it's a word.
Okay, I thought
I know that word.
It was a bit of a slog.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What's next?
Christmas
Christmas
knitting.
Is anybody doing Christmas knitting?
I should have started in July. I say that every year.
If you're doing Christmas knitting, you can write it in the comments. We'd love to hear what you're knitting, but I wasn't going to do Christmas knitting, but we wanted to talk about it, so I picked some things I could do. But you go first.
I'm going to make another cardigan number 7 for my mom in green.
Nice.
With some Blue Sky Fibers wool stock and some mohair. I'm just going to hold it double.
I have a question. When you knit for other people, do you get their measurements and everything?
I don't. I mean, I don't really knit for people I don't know well. So I know, my daughter's about my size. My mom's a little bit smaller than I am, but she likes things roomy, so I'll probably make a medium. I made smalls for my daughter and for myself in the sweater, but I think she'll want something a little bit roomier. And it is just such a sweatshirty, easy to wear, take on, take off.
Right, it's not a
cardigan.
fitted garment, so
No.
I guess that doesn't matter so much.
Yeah,
So-
that's my only other Christmas gift I'm going to make.
I mentioned in our, we did a video about fall fiber festivals, which was so fun, and I bought this little kit for a beanie, a hat for my husband. So I think when I finish my C2 sweater, then I might actually whip this up for him for Christmas. And then I was thinking, yeah, it's already though, like December, so we'll see. And then the one thing that I think would be really fast is, again, I saw a sample here in this shop, and this is the sample. And it's the most beautiful, luscious, gorgeous, amazing. I mean, look at this.
You can't have a bad day and wear this.
It's
right?
so beautiful. And so I saw it one day, didn't buy the yarn that day. Sorry, I dropped the yarn. But then the next time I thought about it, of course, for a week. And the next time I came in, I bought the yarn. So actually, I think they were out of stock or something. So I bought these 3.
Isn't that gorgeous?
And they're going to be for my mom. So I will, for Christmas. Can I tell you what I've done sometimes? If I want to knit somebody something for their birthday or Christmas, maybe I'm the only person, I have wrapped in a bag the yarn and the pattern, and I give it to them like that. And I say, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, I'm going to knit you something. And then as soon as they open it, I take it back. And then I knit it, and it works. It works okay.
The pressure's on after that. You can't not knit it after
that. Might be what my Christmas knitting is this year, is January knit. But anyway, I absolutely love this. It's Art Yarns, mohair ombre, and the pattern is the mohair ombre blanket shawl.
And you're gonna do the tassels?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it just like that. I think it's just heavenly. And I was looking at the construction. I haven't read the pattern, but I was looking at it when I was here. It's knitted lengthwise, so it's way too many stitches, I think, to put on the needle. So it's knit in 2 pieces.
Oh, I was wondering. And
on a big needle. I think so. And then I just love, and I think, we did this in episode 1, asking Felicia and Karen questions during during the filming, but are the tassels just part of the knit, or do you do it after? No, you do it after. Oh, but you match where in the ombre you are. Oh my goodness, it's glorious. It's glorious. So you will see me knit this. I can't wait for my mom. Maybe before Christmas, probably in January.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So should we talk about our favorite things?
We should.
Okay.
Who's going first?
You can go first.
Okay. So, because I have a little bit of I forgot to say the name of the yarn is Snefnug, which actually means snowflake in Danish.
Aww.
So I have a little bit of this left over, and I have some in another color, but I thought I just absolutely love. I've been seeing this on Instagram. This is the.
Now you didn't knit this.
I did not. So this is the Badger in Bloom sweater by Anne Wenzel, and it is not available on Ravelry. So you need to go to her website, annwenzel.com, and purchase the pattern. It's the Badger in Bloom, and this is a store sample from Pick Up Every Stitch, and it's knit in Amelie by Illimani and Echo Soft by Isaiah. And I have the pattern here actually. The original was done and it's very graphic. It's black and white, but I have seen ombre versions. I've seen versions with 5 colors. This one is a very subtle. The color work ends up being very subtle.
It reminds me of that sweater I knitted with very subtle.
It
very
is.
subtle
Oh, the
color work. You almost can't tell there's color
Jennifer
work in it.
Steingass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is my favorite thing this week. I've just been seeing it all over Instagram, and I saw this on Pick Up Every Stitch's Instagram, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really unique take on color work.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's modern, but it's also traditional to me. So yeah, it's my favorite thing this week.
I love
by Anne Wenzel.
My favorite thing this week is a company called Little French Knits. And the story of it is that my daughter-in-law is French. She was born and raised in Paris. She did end up coming to the U.S. and she and my son met on a community service trip, and then they met again in Switzerland on another trip. But they, you know, when they got married, and then they started having little half French babies, little French babies. So I looked up French, just French designs, and I found Florence Merlin of Little French Knits and fell in love. I've knitted multiple garments. I don't have any of them here because they're all actually with the people I gave them to, which is my 2 grandchildren, and they now live in France again, which is kind of cool. So all these projects are in France. I will insert pictures, but I knitted her, what was it called? Lil Bit, L-I-L-L-E, new word, B-I-T-T-E, Lil Bit collection. I knitted every piece of it. The cardigan, the little pants, the hat, and the little booties. I knitted that for my granddaughter in like a lavender. I used Sandnes garn. We'll put it in the show notes. I used Sandnes garn, what's it called? Sunday. Yes, in like a lavender color.
And it's super washed too,
yeah,
which is great.
Yeah. Her mom's favorite color, my daughter-in-law's favorite color is purple, so I made lavender for the little girl. And then I also knitted, they have these 2 beautiful little cardigans with, I guess I'm obsessed with cables right now, so cute. And so I knitted these little cardigans she had designed with cables, and no, they weren't just raglan cables, but I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 cables going around the yoke. And I knitted 2 of those for some baby twins that were born.
Now people knit socks 2 at a time, but generally people do not knit sweaters 2 at a time.
I forgot to say that. I actually knitted the top-down sweaters at the same time.
Yeah.
I do that
I don't
now.
know. I saw it in real life and didn't understand it. So.
No, yeah, whenever I have something I have to knit pieces, like this is top-down, and I had to do the sleeves one at a time because you just pick up the stitches you had hanging. But if I have to knit 2 separate sleeves, I always knit them at the same time. If I have to knit a front and a back flat, I knit them at the same time, always. And so I was going to knit these baby sweaters, and I just decided, and they're knit in the round, not in the round, but top down in one piece, seamless. I did it at the same time. It was so, when I was done with one, I was done with the other. It was so fun.
It was amazing.
And then I need a little yarn management with that one. But what happened was, I'll insert a picture of these beautiful little cardigans I knitted. I knitted them in Pee-wee Paca, which I originally got some here at Pick Up Every Stitch, but then I needed so much of it, I ended up just ordering some, but straight from the company. But I knitted those, and that's also washable. But still, you still have to be careful with it. It will still felt a little bit.
It will felt in the dryer.
It will.
You cannot go in the dryer.
So I always tell parents, you know, you hand wash it and then lay it flat to dry. I'm sorry, but it's just better. It's beautiful yarn. And then I knitted one more thing. I saw this pattern of hers, and it has purl 3, knit 1, like little bit at the top of this romper, and also on the front, the edge of the hat. And it's super cute. I wanted to make a romper for my daughter-in-law's sister, who was living in France at the time, having her first baby. But I thought that the purl 3, knit 1 looked a little boyish, and I fell in love with the cables on the previous cardigans, so I just did this exact pattern because the cables in the other one are knit 3, purl 1, and this is purl 3, knit 1. So I just reversed it and I did the cables on here.
And the designer actually thought it was a pretty nifty take.
Yeah, so she actually she wrote a new pattern. Yeah, so I sent her the pictures and I said, I'm going to post this. Do you mind if I tag you? Because I modified it. I said, I stole the cables from your other cardigan and put them in the top of this. And she loved it so much, she wrote a pattern for that specific take on it. So, and I knitted it in pink. It was just beautiful for the little girl, Leonie. So, oh dear, my granddaughter's sneezing. Gesundheit. So, yeah, Little French Knits. Florence Merlin, love her. She's very responsive. If I send her a message on Instagram, she always messages me back. So that's my favorite thing.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And we're so grateful that you came back, and happy to have shared this little bit of our lives with you.
Yes.
And if you enjoyed our video, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode, because we do release small little videos weekly.
Yeah, we try to
between our
release
favorite episodes.
every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And, again, we want to thank Florence.
Felicia.
It's getting late. It's getting dark outside.
It
You
is.
can't tell. Felicia and Karen again for letting us use their beautiful shop, Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco, New York. And again, Sophie Madeline and the London Record Company for letting us use the knitting song. Oh,
And the special appearances by Kim's grandchildren. Oh my goodness, you are deceptively heavy.
next time your grandchildren are in town, we have to get them in a video.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank
Can you
you.
wave? Say bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Wait a minute. You have to look at the camera when you say bye.
So I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing.
Okay.
Is the microphone new? Speaking of ends not being woven in. I know it looks complicated, but it was so potato chippy.
Should I powder my face? And that makes me so happy.
I love your soldata.
Where's Jonna?
When I call you on the phone, I'm still lost, I'm still alone. Who's going to make it right?